Can you believe we have come to the end of yet another week? I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief. Grab a coffee, grab something to drink. Let's settle in for your news headlines. And this is where our community meets every Monday to Thursday to take a look at those top stories making headlines in Israel. And as always, we're brought to you by these guys, Lay of the Land. Now, today's broadcast comes with a trigger warning. We will be discussing the issue of rape and sexual violence. So if this issue is triggering, please understand, and you're welcome to fast forward the first few minutes of the Israel Brief. So let's get into the top story. We are day 230 of Israel's war with Hamas. Now, I haven't slept a lot. And the reason that I haven't slept a lot is because yesterday at 6 p.m., the families of 5 of the Tatzbaniot, these were the young female soldiers that were spotters at the Nahal Oz army base, who were brutally kidnapped and sexually abused on the 7th of October. Families gave permission for a highly edited clip of their abduction to be made public. And the families say the reason that they are doing this is because they want the world to know what happened, and also because they want to push for a deal for the release of their girls. The video is absolutely horrendous. A lot of mainstream newspapers have carried the footage, have carried coverage of it today, and it profoundly traumatized me. And I've seen a lot from the 7th of October, and this was brutal. In it you see the 5 girls, Liri, Karina, Naama, Agam and Daniela, being tied up. Blood is running from their faces. You can see their eyes are absolutely terrified. There are pixelated bits which are obviously their colleagues, their friends who had been murdered. There must be at least 50 Hamas terrorists, heavily armed, praying, crowing over what they are doing. There is some discussion about the translation, but they use the word sabaya, which according to Arab translators means captive or slave towards the girls. They reportedly point to the one girl and say, this is the age that can get pregnant, something to that effect. It's profoundly traumatic to watch. You see beautiful Naama Levi. We are all familiar with that image of Naama, and it's in this video of her being dragged by her hair to the back of a truck, bleeding from her crotch. You hear her saying, I have Palestinian friends, I have Palestinian friends, trying to reason to any kind of humanity inside these savages, and they're just not interested. You see one terrorist saying to one of the girls, you are so beautiful, and it's absolutely horrific and insidious, profoundly disturbing. Earlier today, the Daily Mail released the footage and some script of terrorists who had been captured on the 7th of October, speaking about how they raped and murdered Israelis. I will read to you from the script. This is a video clip of a Hamas terrorist. And the article says, without any visible sign of remorse, he said, in each house where we found someone, we either killed them or kidnapped them. Pressed further, he added, in the first house I found a woman and her husband, and we hit them with fire and killed them. They were in their late 40s. He then went on to confess how he had raped one woman, and she said, she was screaming, she was crying, I did what I did, I raped her. I threatened her with my gun to take her clothes off. I remember she was wearing jean shorts. That's about it. I don't know what happened to her. I was there for 15 minutes and then I left. But according to his son Abdullah, his father killed the woman, as he told investigators. My father raped her and then I did. and then my cousin did, and then we left. But my father killed the woman after we finished raping her. Before this woman, we had raped another girl as well. I killed 2 people, I raped 2 people, and I broke into 5 houses. This follows a report on sexual violence that has been released by Pramila Patten, the UN Special Envoy on Sexual Violence. This is absolutely horrific and harrowing. And why I'm talking about it is not only so that you know, but it also ties into today's audience question. Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Herzog, visibly shaken, have responded to the footage. The Prime Minister said, "We will do everything we can to eliminate Hamas." And President Herzog said that the whole world must bear witness to this cruelty. Meanwhile, the War Cabinet have given the go-ahead to resume indirect hostage negotiations with Hamas. We do this through partners from Egypt and the United States and sometimes even Qatar. And the Prime Minister has also appealed to the IDF to release parts of the 47 minutes that the IDF has collated of the horrors of the 7th of October, taken from Hamas body cams, GoPros, surveillance footage, to show the world what happened, because there is so much denial. Just a short while ago, Hezbollah fired another 2 barrages of rockets towards communities in the north of Israel. This follows a massive barrage earlier today of 45 rockets, which they have claimed responsibility for. Now, these rockets have set off blazes in parts of Israel's north, and firefighters have been battling to quell the fires. Earlier today, Hamas fired rockets towards the Kerem Shalom crossing. This is the humanitarian aid crossing. This is the crossing where humanitarian aid enters the Gaza Strip for the people of Gaza who desperately need it. So next time you hear reports in the media saying that Israel is starving the people of Gaza, remember what Hamas is doing to the humanitarian aid crossings. The International Court of Justice have announced that they will make their ruling on interim measures from the request brought forward by South Africa last week. Last week, Thursday, South Africa presented why they think there should be more provisional measures to stop Israel's Rafah offensive, and Israel counter-presented last Friday. We spoke about it a little earlier in the week. And the IDF have been very, very clear that their operations in Rafah are not a widespread incursion, but rather extremely pinpointed and precise. And the Biden administration have said they have no objections to the way that the IDF is carrying out their offensive in Rafah, or Rafah as some call it. Last night, President Herzog appeared on Piers Morgan Uncensored. This was in an exclusive interview in response to yesterday's recognition by Ireland, soon to be followed by Norway and Spain, for an independent Palestinian state. The president voiced his strong objection, and he said that, this is a futile attempt, and futile steps won't help with any progress in the region. In fact, it does quite the opposite. It doesn't pay attention to adverse challenges, and also impedes the ability to reach a deal regarding the hostages. And he also said that these countries are rewarding terror organization Hamas for their atrocities, and the only way for a negotiated settlement is for the 2 parties involved to come to the table and negotiate between themselves. And you can view that exclusive interview on Piers Morgan Uncensored. It is on YouTube. So audience question time, and this comes from a journalist called Temba, who I met earlier today, who watches the Israel Brief, and he asked me, why, when they can see the facts for themselves, do journalists continue to deny the reality of what is happening? And that is such an important question, because it's a frustration we all share. You can see the facts, you can hear the facts. Why are you misrepresenting the news? And I think that it's several things. I think it's laziness. And if you are a reporter based in Israel at the moment, there's no excuse for laziness. We are briefed all day by the IDF, by the government press office. There are briefings every single day. The Ministry of Public Diplomacy is briefing. The Israeli media is very open and very free, and you can speak to any of us and we will share the information with you. It's also agenda pushing. We know that stations or platforms like the BBC, Al Jazeera, and even Sky News in the United Kingdom have a particular slant and a particular agenda, and that is what they're pushing. I do think that an element of it is looking at everything through identity politics and critical race theory. Israel must be the oppressor, the Palestinians must be the oppressed, without examining the history, the facts, and the nuances. And of course, I believe that journalists and anyone who denies these atrocities knows that to admit them means to admit to supporting something so evil and so insidious that the simpler solution is just to deny it even happened. Those are our top stories as we head into the weekend. Don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our Facebook page is at Lottel's site. Our YouTube channel is at The Israel Brief. If you like our content, please like, share and subscribe. And we're on X at Lay of the Land 5. God bless you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Shabbat Shalom. Take care of yourselves and of each other. I will see you again on Monday.